Hey guys, welcome to Beyond the Dimensions podcast, and today we have two remaining guests,
J'Neil Gibson.
And Amara Cole.
and our other host,
Mel Busy.
All right, tell them what we're going to be talking about today.
Today we're going to be talking about current and past events that are controversial. Shit, let's get into it.
Our first topic is, have you guys heard about Belgium's reign in the late 19th century in Congo?
Yeah. That was something that, to be honest, it was a, complete genocide. So there was a King Leopold II, I believe. And, through expedition, they found out that there was these rubber trees in the Congo. So through some forceful intervention, the state or country of Belgium forced their way into Congo and enslaved the native Congolese people, and just did some really atrocious things, like some of the worst humanitarian crisis in our history. Unimaginable things, chopping off, kids' arms, like that was like the norm. If you didn't work accordingly, harvesting these trees for rubber. But like I said, in school it was not really talked about that much. Now, as far as genocide goes, that was pretty bad. But we only heard about one genocide, right? And that was the Holocaust. But never this one. This one was never touched on.
That's what I see in school. Like, we had like a little brief, like, talk about what happened with the rubber trees, and then like we had a lot of units involved in the Holocaust, and like, in order to know more information on that topic, you have to like do your own research. That's what I didn't like.
Yeah, that's true. Like, even with me, like, in school, I didn't really learn about a lot of stuff, like a lot of history, like, including black history.
Yeah.
Like, I had to do my own research. Like, even the rubber trees, I didn't really know about that until, like, I was a little bit older. But I knew about the Holocaust, like, kind of early in school.
Yeah, because we're like, always talking about it.
Yeah, even when we talk about slavery, like, I feel like we don't talk about, like, the whole thing.
Yeah.
We only talk about, like, the
think
basic parts, you know what I mean?
They said it, like, slavery is so big that, like, it's so hard to include it in, like, one school year, let alone, like, one little, segment of.
So then you would talk about it. Really, you would do, like, World War II history in general.
Yeah.
I learned about every single last year of my life in history class. There was a segment taught on World War II. So that's how you ingrain, right, in our heads, like, this is what happened in this history, and we're all well versed in it. But that did not happen with slavery, nor let alone any which is kind of interesting because African American culture is clearly a part of our nation, as well as other people's stories too. But the units, it's not as heavy in those teachings. Like this story, the King Leopold story, I mean, the history is, as far as just genocides go, I mean, insurmountable. I don't know the number, 10 million people, slaughtered for a resource is astonishing, and that's relatively close in our history. It's not like it's 200 or 300. It's not 1,000 years away, 1,000 BCE or something. It's like 1895. That's not too far. So, I mean, why that is, we can talk about it. We can talk about, what do you think? Why do you think that is?
'Cause like there's so much publishing about like people like experiences. Like we read a book about somebody that experienced the Holocaust and stuff, and like there's not that much personal information from people in Congo. And even if like we in school we wouldn't have the time to read that book. In like school we talk so much about World War II, which involves the Holocaust, and then we have our own segment with the Holocaust. So, and Frank, there's like so much stuff to like research on the Holocaust, and then the rubber trees, you have to do your own research.
Why do you
feel
think
like it's a part of that? But at the same time, it's like, you know how in school you like learn about propaganda and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So like a country's not gonna make themselves look bad.
Yeah.
So in school we only learn about the things that will make us feel bad about, like, something regarding our country, whatever. But then with like a different country, we're not gonna learn about that much. Like with slavery, what do you hear a lot? Like, Oh, why can't
yeah.
you guys like
Forget about it.
forget about it, let it go.
Yeah, it's because it's not really affecting them.
Yeah, it doesn't affect them, so it's not gonna. They're not really gonna care.
I think slavery affected us all in a way, as far as how it shaped American mindsets.
Yeah.
Like what's okay and what's the standard with treating people, which is why it kind of blows my mind that we don't cover that topic, and like just in class in general, because it is it's an American story, but it's also a world story.
Yeah.
Because the slave trade affected the entire
America,
the entire world, right?
Yeah.
The entire eastern seaboard, western seaboard in the States. I mean, it was so expansive. So it's quite an American story. Touching nonetheless, because it affected a particular people group coming from a certain area of the world, which is black people, African Americans. But the lessons that could be learned from it, so we don't repeat. It's like, I don't know why it's taboo to talk about.
Yeah.
I think a lot of healing could come from, obviously, African American people. A lot of healing could take place if it was touched on in school, but a lot of healing too for the dominant culture in America could come forth too. We were just to discuss it and not put a facade over it like it didn't happen.
Yeah.
I want to touch on that a little bit. I feel like a lot of the times the people teaching or talking about are not educated themselves, and they see it as like a touchy topic. They don't want to say the
It's
wrong
like scary
thing.
for them
Yeah.
because like they can't. It's like when somebody that's not black talks about black issues.
Yeah.
Like how could they understand?
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
like they don't want to, like, I can kind of understand it. They don't want to disrespect us.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, just because you don't want to disrespect us and do this doesn't mean you should keep us away from our
Learning.
history. Yeah.
What you got to
That's
think
our
too is like,
heritage.
that's like, all right, teachers get like a curricular that they have to teach us too. So it's not like, it's not really their fault most of the time. Or, well, we don't really know, but.
Well, DPI, Department of Public Instruction,
Yeah.
which is still a government-ran system, which funds the school district. That's who you have to. And there's a lot of people you have to look. You have to look to that's why voting is so important. You have to look at your policymakers, what's been implemented in curriculum, and I think in this region, we connect with. I don't know why it happens, but we connect talking about everybody else's like cultural struggle with like diversity and inclusion training. I know it's just a story of people, because in the United States of America, our founding fathers apparently had this brilliant idea that this would become some sort of great melting pot, even a European melting pot, because Europe is very expansive and there's so many different type of cultures between Germany, France, and Norwegian, right? You have all these different cultures, and people look different, and their stories are rich. So we can't just keep talking about one side of the field, because we're going to continue to have problems if you feel left out in this piece of American pie. We have to talk about it. But I don't know. You said something that was key as far as like, well, I think you said they don't have as much information. People aren't too well versed in World War II either.
Yeah.
But it's still a subject matter every school year. There's facts missing out of the piece. So
Yeah, I was thinking the same.
And-
you know,
that's-
like, why not? That's not an excuse.
Yeah.
You know.
And like, it's like, all right, with us too, like we learned about a lot of black history by ourselves, right?
Mhm.
So we did our own research. So if we can do that, I'm 20 years old.
Yeah.
I'm doing that. So I mean, a teacher could, look some things up too.
Why would they not be interested?
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're literally learning.
But I do
it's like
under-
your subject. Why wouldn't you want?
yeah, I do understand it sometimes too, because it's like if it doesn't really affect you, then
But the whole.
But I'm
point
not
of
saying it's
them
right.
working Is teaching
Yeah.
history.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's right, but I'm saying I understand why, we don't learn about it, because I'm gonna learn about it regardless by myself.
All right. One other thing I wanted to touch on was about like it's kind of like the same topic to me. It's like how we learn about like you hear about like Ukraine civil war like a lot, and then I was like thinking about how like in Africa there's like millions of civil wars that we don't learn about.
Or a lot of civil wars.
Yeah.
Millions of people involved.
Even around the world.
Yeah.
I wonder why.
Why we don't touch on other specific places that are having civil wars outside of countries that are more so European.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's
You're
It-
basically
you already
saying
you already
it.
you
Yeah,
already
you're
you already, you already
based.
said the answer when you said the first thing about why people don't want to. Well, there's a lot of different reasons, right? I think it may be because we don't care, or we don't have particular interest in those countries that are having a civil war. Like if I don't have a lot of, I'll just put it this way, if I don't have a lot of Sudanese friends, right? And I don't know too many Sudanese people.
Oh, yeah.
I might not. I don't care what's going on in Sudan because I only know what's happening on TikTok, on Snapchat, or on Instagram. And if it's not being talked about on there, and my friends are a representation of what I see on social media. So if none of my friends are Sudanese, and for as far as the United States of America goes, I'm not really caring about it,
Yeah.
right? But what's on the headlines? Everything that's going on with the Ukrainian civil war, which it is bad. Like people are being taken advantage of. People are being having their rights taken away forcefully, right, by actually losing resource and life in front of you. But why is that? Why is the other civil wars that are happening in Africa right now not being talked about? I think it's because we don't care about black people.
Yeah.
But I seen like why they care so much about Ukraine is like we're trying to get U.S. is trying to get allies around like Russia, so like
Yeah.
they have no place to go.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's like the main reason, but
Well, would we stage a war right now in Africa? What would we do that for? Like what
it's
need
not.
what need would we have to be like? So we're in. There's been a lot of tension between China, Russia, and North Korea, and in our current history, right? So what African country have we had tension with?
I don't know.
And recently, in the past 10 years, what African country have we had tension with?
I'm not sure. I
Really?
think that's probably like hard to have, right? Because we're like colonized by
By
different countries.
by
Yeah, we
different
don't
European
even-
entities.
Yeah, African countries don't even really run their actual countries.
Yeah, so a lot do. We gotta look into that. A
Well,
lot.
I'm not
Some
sure.
is
They're not
nationalized.
colonized. Like a lot of countries aren't colonized.
Well,
no
still,
more.
if you don't have control of your own resource, like you haven't nationalized your own resource.
Oh yeah.
If I'm just trying to say for Liberia, if Liberia has, I don't know, sugar cane, and they allow like Dole Fruits or Walmart has a fruit industry. If they allow them to come in and buy up bits of land to like open up Walmart and Dole Fruit plants, they technically don't own their own resource.
Yeah.
Walmart and Dole Fruit owns it.
Yeah,
But
that's my point. Yeah.
If
So it's like most of the resources aren't going
it's
to.
it's owned by
Yeah.
it's owned by other interests.
Yeah.
And it's funny because the country has to pay taxes, right, back to those companies that are utilizing their land, because those private industries or private companies are like building infrastructure or doing all these different things. So it's a money grab, but this is why countries have to nationalize
Yeah.
and really like take control of their own resources best they can. Because if you're a resource rich country, you should have your own destiny. Just like in America, if you have your own land and you grow tomatoes, it should be your destiny to like sell your tomatoes,
Yeah.
and not have like a company come in and be like swooping in and be like, nope, this is my
Yeah.
farm now. Matter of fact, you won't do a good enough job to even take care of it, so I'm just gonna offer you this money, and just put pressure. Like we put pressure around a lot of different countries.
Yeah, that's what I meant. It's like you like they do have leaders and things, but
Yeah.
if all your resources are going somewhere else,
Just
I mean, they're
money,
really running it.
No.
So,
money
well,
controls
you're-
it.
Yeah.
So
Could we agree Africa has very valuable resources, right?
Not no more.
what do you mean
I
not
mean,
anymore?
we still do.
Yeah, I'm saying,
but it's not owned by.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
that's
not
what I'm
owned
trying
by
to
us,
touch
though.
on is like, I don't know. Like I haven't seen like no article on it. I need
Yeah,
to
I'm
do
not-
more
yeah.
research on it. But I
Yeah.
think like we talked about this before. Like,
Mhm.
like different countries that are like they have a good economy.
Yeah.
They would like see that like gas is like very like valuable in the
Mhm.
world. They would see that a country has gas, and then they would like pick a radical group,
Yeah.
supply them with money and like guns, which is in their eyes is more valuable than gas, because they don't really know. And
Yeah.
then they would like exchange something less valuable for something more valuable.
Yeah.
It's kind of
It's
like,
like
finesse.
Yeah, it's a finesse game. It's like, let me get this resource. It's not as valuable as these guns, take these guns. You know what I mean?
Yep.
They're gonna take the guns because they don't really know the value of what you're taking.
And
from
they
them.
target
really
the radical,
sad. Yeah.
radical group.
Yeah,
so
that
like,
only care about
that gun.
yeah
and money,
the violence
yeah.
and money.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
Well, it's like we talked about this before.
Yeah.
So, Africa is probably the most resource-rich continent
Yeah.
in the world.
Yeah.
You know, right now. But like we spoke about before, we're nationalizing and history. So, if you have all these diamonds, and you used to having these diamonds, you've been the wealthiest. Think about like the Mali Empire, right? Or like even Timbuktu, these ancient empires, Egypt. You've had gold and diamonds for as long as time can remember.
Yeah.
And then somebody brings like gunpowder, or something, some new
Oh,
or some
yeah.
different invention that you haven't seen before. You're like, I mean, we have gold. Like, what's this new stuff you're talking about? Now it's a foolish mistake to trade away what the real resource is,
Valuable.
and then other people know, you know, all right, like the real, we know the real value and wealth of your product, but we're gonna trade you this that we
Yeah.
know is like nothing. We made this out of dirt and whatever, for diamonds. And then that's the first mistake that a lot of countries make, is by not valuing their own resource, which is a downfall on their own part. But then it just spins out into some uncontrollable cycle
Yeah.
of manipulation, and just manipulation and greed.
Yeah, that's
Vanity.
what I was
It's
just
like-
about to I was thinking in my head how did that much countries get colonized? And it's probably mainly manipulation and gunpowder.
Well, no, manipulation and greed, and you have to look at taking a part of, not even just Africa, but any country, not any country that has been colonized a particular way, because some countries are colonized by pure force, because the introduction of guns into the world was guns and different military might was, you have to take that in consideration. A bullet is more detrimental than a spear.
Yeah.
Now you can be the greatest warrior ever, know how to wield a spear and a sword, but a bullet that can hit you from 40 yards away,
Yeah,
a little bit different.
That's
right.
how the Mexico got colonized by Spain.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
because they.
but to the victor go the spoils. If you have a breakthrough with military might, I mean, it's up to you and what you do with that breakthrough. But you see the nature of human beings sometimes when we do have these scientific breakthroughs. Like, even we were talking about, sorry to digress here, but we were talking about, if nobody saw, we have 17 national labs in the United States of America. This is actually interesting. We should have brought this up, man. This is real current events, bro. Like crazy. But at Livermore Lab, they had a breakthrough in regards to nuclear fusion.
Oh yeah.
So recreating the same nuclear energy that's on the sun. We could power our entire country without utilizing fossil fuels. So without creating carbon, without messing up our environment.
But do you think they will do that?
I think there will be private investors and private companies that will, but the project was funded by the Department of Defense. So when I watched the panel discussions, it was all we're looking forward to the military breakthroughs that are going to take place with this. So it's dang, why does it always go back to, anytime we have a scientific breakthrough in regards to energy,
It's like
right, or
exclusive.
combustion, it's let's make this about the military and takeover, land grab, takeover. It's dang, we could make this about solving human crises.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
it's even the space race, right?
Yeah,
Russia was about to go, so
we gotta go.
now we have to go.
I
We
see
gotta
it,
go.
In my class,
We
were
gotta get there
talking
first.
Yeah.
We were talking about how it was do you think we would switch to electric cars and stuff like
Mm.
that? And I was in my head, I'm just thinking people are so greedy for oil and stuff
Yeah.
that there's no way that we're gonna stop this stop selling oil
Yeah,
for cars. People are gonna always want cars.
because then it's gonna lose the value, and then now you can't finesse the same way you were
yeah,
finessing.
it's it's
Yeah.
losing the value of how valuable oil was.
I think what's gonna happen is old money, as they call it. So oil companies or just companies that have been producing fossil fuels. I think they need to find a way, which is where our generation and the tech boom, as far as Silicon Valley and just a new age energy, we have to be really mindful and make sure we don't repeat the same mistakes of the old money.
Yeah.
All right, we this newfound information that your generation is going to come about in the next 30, 50 years, our kids' generation, we can't be so focused on money. But if old money finds a way, like old companies find a way to make money off electric cars, or there is ways to do it, but to make a insurmountable profit, they'll do it. They just have to. They're not. You got to think. They're not the thinkers that you are. Like, you guys are about to lead the next generation, the new wave, right, of how this world is going to go forward, and they don't have a grasp on it yet. But if they get a grasp on it, if they like pick your brain for a second and figure out, oh, this is all you got to do this. Okay, let's figure out how to monetize. But we have to stay true. Like, our generation has to stay true. Your generation, really, and your kids' generation, you guys have to stay true to like supporting the human race. 'Cause that's what it's gonna be all about. Because if we keep going down this trend of making money, it's not gonna be there's not gonna be nothing left to make money off of.
That's kind of what I'm scared of, though.
Literally.
Like, people aren't gonna, like, this is what I always talked about. You know how people found a way, like scientists found a way how to make cars run off water and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And then like they always end up dying. I was like, to me, I would never give out that information because like I know why those people are dying.
Yeah.
It's because it's gonna drop the value of like normal people using gas.
Yeah.
And then, like water, anybody can get water anywhere.
It's obsolete. It'll be oil or crude oil, fossil fuels be rendered obsolete.
Yeah.
And
then it would just be worse for water too.
I mean, the whole industry, like, you got to think how much it goes to like reap oil. Like, how many different hands are involved with that process. Like, you got not just oil companies, you got metal companies, you got engineering companies. So much people making money. Yeah. Right. And then you got the car industry. You got, the combustion engines. You got like everything is based off of us utilizing crude oil, which we should do a whole different podcast just about like what that actually does to the world alone, and like provide the research. I think people need to hear it because people really argue with it, and it's like it's not even an argument, bro. Like,
if you do the research, bro, you will be like so mind blown, like how much usable water we have, like everything that's like driving us down.
We use water to get oil.
Yeah, we use water
like,
for.
Once you start doing research, the things that you thought were fake,
like world hunger is like crazy.
Yeah.
And you don't even think about it because you're not experiencing it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like even like with the world hunger stuff, right? Yeah. In your head, it's not like real because you're not really seeing it. But then when you start doing the research, you're like, dang.
Yeah. I think
people aren't living like us.
I think we don't see it because, all right, let's just take quote unquote. I found if you look into what they mean when they say first world, second world, third world countries too, that's quite interesting. It doesn't necessarily mean it's based off of countries' economic like might. Yeah. It's just how we deal with we deal with this country on a first world basis. It's like your first cousin. Like they're our first world business partners, right? But I think why we don't really get to see it is because we're this country's biggest economic commodity. So like as long as we're decently fed and decently kept, we will keep spending money on whatever. Yeah. And us spending money means like this MacBook Pro, probably a lot of tech pieces were made in other countries. Yeah. Right. So we as a country we sell us out to other countries. Like, you guys have Macs. Well, I have citizens that will buy a Mac. Right. Here's right. So you bring your products, bring all your business and products here. We have people that will buy it. Yeah. All right. This is what keeps our economy going. But other countries don't necessarily have that luxury. So then you see, like they're not as well fed and as well kept. It's like we're like sheeps, if you will. Yeah. Like as long as you keep the sheeps fed, But when the inflation rates went up, and then job rates started to sort of decrease too, like wages, you see people started to get a little frantic. Yeah. Because people really couldn't afford groceries, here. So I don't know, man. I don't know what's gonna happen.
It's always till it affects you what you realize.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Facts.
All right.
Facts.
The next one is like a very, very current event. Chinese spy balloon.
Chinese spy balloon. Oh boy.
What's your thoughts on it?
Coach, you want to go first on this one, man?
I don't even know that much about it. I'm not gonna lie. I just seen that a Chinese spy balloon was shot down.
What do you like when you see it? Like, have you ever seen anything like that in your life?
Nah, I don't really like look to see things like that. I don't
Like-
really understand. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't understand what that can do to our country or anything if we can go to war. I really don't know.
Y'all know
Bro,
that
no, we can't.
we just found out about this one, but there was like 3 during Trump's presidency that we didn't even know about.
Really? So they just weren't aired.
Yeah.
So the media just didn't talk about those ones.
Wait, so what would happen? All right,
Mhm.
what are they spying on? That's what I'm trying to understand.
We
Great
don't
question.
know. They're
Great
I think
W
they're
question.
saying that
Go ahead.
they're using it as like for research on like weather, like global stuff.
All right, so was it?
I
Global
don't.
stuff.
I don't know how to.
Evil up there.
Global.
So was the balloon like? Was the balloon like over a specific place?
Yeah.
like
Bro, it covered where you said it entered from Alaska, right?
yeah, Alaska
And then
down from Canada.
down from Canada, Montana. Shoot, probably went across North Dakota.
Damn,
I don't know
so-
how we didn't see it.
It took that long?
Yeah, bro, it was
for
only
them to
moving.
realize?
It was only moving by the speed of the wind.
Oh,
There was
alright.
no engine powering it. That's why it was like sort of. I mean, we detected it. We're America. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, you're not put that.
Well, it took a
This
couple
is America,
states,
bro. You know.
Got pretty far.
Yeah,
They
that
got-
shit took a couple
Bro,
states.
they seen it, but they were like, you know what? You seen the coverage? What is that on? They couldn't shoot it down when it was over land.
The
Oh
because-
yeah,
Yeah, they had to wait till
Yeah.
it was over water because it could have landed on like somebody's family or something.
Yeah.
So we saw it,
Yeah.
but I think the intel that they may have been trying to collect was see how we would react, like what would be our reaction time, and test it out. I think also I know if you're going over Montana, North Dakota, you're definitely going over what is it, military
air base.
air bases,
Yeah.
military bases,
Plenty of
yeah.
nuclear.
It's like nuclear.
nuclear is it nuclear reserves,
Well,
Isn't it where, like-
silos?
nuclear silos.
For sure, silos in western North Dakota.
So what is that? It's like where they're kept. All right.
Yeah, could have been.
So, like, in Minot, there's legit a nuke base.
Yeah, yeah.
Damn,
I
you
see-
Just a nuke base in Minot.
yeah, like World War II, they're trying to target North Dakota to
Damn.
knock down like our bases.
So
So
Leng, so you was right about the Kim Jong Un and was
They're
it?
gonna totally-
Now they're teaming up with China, bro. It's over.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, now they're teaming up with
We'll
China.
flip right now, right?
right, boom. What else? They probably could have. Man, I mean, you talk about air traffic, right? Like listening in on just. I don't know the power of the satellite or the capability of the satellite in which they shot down, but
Yeah.
I mean, you listening in on however many conversations, especially if you're flying over bases. But I more so think, dude, I think if I look at patterns of specifically that country, it's like, do you see what they did right after? They was like, we don't condone the U.S. shooting down a balloon over the United States of America airspace.
Yeah, they're trying to
What
say
if a US
it's for
balloon was
research.
flying in China?
Yeah.
What they
Oh.
say? It's a birthday balloon.
Right? They were like,
It's a
we don't
helium
agree
balloon.
with. They were like, it was a private owners.
It's like the Chinese balloons that you light up.
Yeah. I
Some nigga
swear,
hiding
that's what I
inside
thought.
of it, spying.
Bro.
I swear that's what I thought it was. Yeah, somebody looking down.
I think
I
they
know
want
it's
problems.
Actual spy, but like
They want problems, bro.
the direct thing that I tied it in with was TikTok, cause I
Oh,
learned about like how U.S. is trying to ban TikTok because they're
Yeah.
getting information.
But
from-
then again, we don't
Yeah.
even get all the information about things like the government.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like we don't get all information, so we don't really know right now, right?
Here's what, like, sorry to keep interrupting. but
No.
The media is like, well, we've learned more about the balloon than they've learned about us.
What does that mean? Media?
What does that even mean?
What does that even mean? We know more about the balloon. It's a fucking balloon,
It's
bro.
like, you've got more
first
information about the
interjection
balloon
was
than they.
what did that
Like,
mean?
how do you know?
Bro, I just
Oh, frick.
media, America, do you think that the balloon was some huge breakthrough in scientific, like, we found out about a balloon? It's a freaking balloon, bro, that was moved by air. Like, this was just a test to see how we would react. And then they probably, I don't know how strong, I don't know what that satellite was capable of, like, monitoring. They probably gained some sort of information, intel,
Yeah.
if you will.
Yeah, it had like some satellite thing on the
Yeah.
bottom.
But do you think? All right. So do you guys think like
They tested us, though.
you think it will be
Let me not say us, like,
able to actually get information because
bro, yeah.
don't you think like our security is better than that?
Nah,
but
bro.
It
Nah,
had
it's
like
not.
it had like the satellite there after it gained that info, there's no going back.
Coach, there's satellites that sit above our stratosphere, like
Yeah.
thermosphere, and they gain information about you and what you like on social media, your trends and everything.
Yeah, I know that.
This is a satellite that is what atmosphere? What atmosphere was, or what part of our atmosphere was it in?
50,000 feet.
50,000 feet. What is that? The stratosphere?
I don't even know.
Research.
Yeah, because I would think that they would prepare for something like that to happen.
They thought it would be. They thought it would be
but after it
undetectable.
happens, like, do you think there's any stopping it?
No, I'm not saying
after
there's.
it gets the info.
No, I'm not saying there's any stopping it. I mean, I'm just saying, like, don't you think that they would prepare for things like that to happen? Because it was that easy putting a balloon.
Yeah, but it was. I wouldn't expect it if I was America.
Shit,
It was so
if
random.
it's that
like-
easy, we gotta start doing that, bro. We're mad
We
balloons
gotta
in
use
the
it to make
sky.
our own balloon. Oh,
Don't
bro,
you think they do it with like satellites and stuff?
bro, we're all spying on each other in some sort of way.
Yeah.
They just
It'd be dumb not to.
they wanted problems, bro.
Yeah.
They was like, you know what? We're having some economic tensions with y'all. We're not really feeling the Biden.
They heard.
Send the balloon. Send the balloon in.
They heard
See
our,
see
they
what
heard
they
our
do.
podcast when
Right.
Leng said how the world was gonna end.
You know right
They seen the pot. They got mad. They were like, "What? He didn't include us?" Yeah. All right, man. We gonna show.
We'll show them.
We gonna show it, bro.
How do you guys think the world's gonna end, bro? This is exactly what's gonna happen, bro. Putin and Kim Jong-un is gonna team up and blow this whole place up, bro.
Yeah, you can't say things like that.
Yeah.
Send the balloon.
I think they use that as like mapping out like what you said, mapping out everything, and then like
Yeah,
TikTok is for like the information.
That's exactly. That's why I was asking that question. Do you think that they got that much info? Because in my head, I'm thinking the reason why they put that up there is to actually map out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Map out what though?
like the landscape. Like, hey, we about to.
Like airbase, like
Yeah,
important
this is where
spots.
this is.
Bro, if that imagine if that stuff actually goes down. Like,
Yeah, so I'm moving back to Sudan, bro.
bro,
South Sudan.
I'm following with you.
yeah.
Take me with. Get a flight for. Nah, bro, you got.
I'm
Back to
going-
Liberia.
I'm not going to Liberia.
Go back to
I'm
Liberia.
going
Where you
to
go?
Ivory Coast. That's my
Nah,
one.
bro.
That's the
Like
same
Liberia,
fucking
bro.
place, boy.
Nigga gonna hide out in the underground WWE bunker.
I'm going to
WWE.
Sudan.
Y'all gonna be flying the plane the whole time. Wrestling.
Wrestling in the plane all with each other.
Nah, he's gonna go to China, go to the wrestling.
His name is Mel Busy. Oh, I'm too cool. You know you want to be a wrestler, bro. Chill
Nigga, I
out.
do not want to be a wrestler, man.
Melvin, what's your topic?
If we want to focus specifically on the young man that lost his life, and offer your thoughts,
And for
condolences.
prior knowledge, this unit that killed this young man was a very successful unit in Memphis.
What do you mean? What's your measurements of success?
Like they were busting crime organizations. They were collecting a lot of guns and
Yeah.
drugs off the streets. They were successful, and it was looking like as a powerhouse unit for them.
Scorpion unit.
Yeah.
Well, one thing I seen was like in Memphis, there's people that act like cops to steal cars, but I don't know if that's true or not because I didn't see on like a credible source. But
This
that-
shit's
'cause
crazy.
they weren't in like it was like undercover cop cars, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Melvin, I just wanted to hear what we define as success, especially with policing. Like, what do we think as citizens? What's success policing our population? But I think you hit the nail on the head. I think Memphis as well as New Orleans. I think New Orleans is number one homicide capital of the United States of America now. But I think officers that go into like crime units in those cities, they get exposed to a lot of different stuff, like the real elements of human nature, which is sometimes like just pure evil.
Yeah.
Right. So there's no excuse for what they did. Like that was honestly, when I watched the video, it didn't seem like there wasn't any chatter before. It seemed like really targeted.
Yeah.
You know, like
they knew exactly who
Like,
he
I,
was,
Yeah.
I didn't even like.
what happened.
It didn't even sound like cops, bro. The way
No.
that they were talking.
Yeah, like
It
look
felt like that was even their first encounter. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
they didn't tell him why anything was happening.
no.
Yeah.
they
Straight, get
literally
out the
just
car,
beat
get on
this
the
man
ground.
to death and said, like, look at the things they're saying. I want to stomp on his head. Like,
Yeah.
what type of unit is that?
Yeah,
like,
it looks so personal.
yeah, it's so personal. It's like
Yeah.
a personal attack on a man. And people want to say, why did he run? Well, I
When
hear
you
that
hear
in the
when you hear
media.
that, what do you think? Like when you hear somebody ask in those situations, because I have what I think, but I want to hear what y'all think. When you hear somebody ask, well, why did they run? Like, what do you think?
I think
It's-
well, like as black people, right? It's like it's getting to the point where we definitely don't trust the cops. So
Like fight or flight.
yeah, it's like a fight or flight. So if you feel like you're in danger, your life's in danger,
Mhm.
then I mean, who's really gonna just stay there and not run?
Yeah.
So I just feel like the trust is getting,
Mhm.
it's getting worse because now we're seeing it in the media, like Tyre,
Yeah.
like what happened to him. So or even George Floyd, like things like that. So I feel like the trust isn't there. So if you feel like your life is in danger, I mean that's what you're gonna do.
Yeah.
After seeing like
It's like-
that there were fake cops trying to pull people over and stuff. Like if you were in Memphis
Mhm.
and you didn't understand and it was undercover cop cars, like
Mhm.
why wouldn't you run
Yeah.
if it could have been like a fake cop?
Right.
But like to me, I'd really never experienced something like that. So like
Mhm.
in my head, that's why I was like so stuck on like why did he run?
Yeah.
Like that's why I think it gotten worse. But if I was in that situation, more than likely I would be running too.
Yeah.
But-
Yeah, but and don't you feel like when that question is asked, like why did this person run? That's like
It's
like an
to take-
excuse.
Yeah, to
Yeah, it's
take
like
away from what
it happened to him
Yeah, it's
because
like-
he
it's like-
ran.
They're trying to like that's why I wanted to talk
Yeah.
speak on the if he had relations with the
Mhm.
yeah, because it's been debunked that it isn't true.
Yeah.
But I feel like the media is trying to find
Something.
something to justify what happened to the young
Which-
man.
Yeah.
Like it's
Not
And
even-
that happens with all of the stories.
yeah,
That's what gets me
Every
so
single
mad.
story.
Like,
Yeah.
have you seen like on the Shade Room or stuff like that? That
Mhm.
like tea, spilling
yeah,
tea.
spilling tea.
Like they try to put stuff into a story to make it like interesting and stuff. Like
Yeah, like have you guys heard like Martin Luther King cheated on his wife?
Yeah, I did. I
it's
think
like-
I think he did.
Yeah, but my point is,
What does that
they're
have to
gonna-
do with the
yeah, what
civil
does that
rights
have to-
movement?
What does that have
Yeah.
to do with?
I mean,
what
it
he did?
detracts.
Huh?
It detracts and distracts from the real purpose
Yeah.
of what was going on.
So
Yeah.
so I feel like
Yeah.
that's what they do with these
Yeah.
situations too.
But,
Like,
it's like
with George Floyd, like he was a drug addict, but
Yeah.
does that give the excuse for him?
that
to-
one,
be killed.
I've never. So, me and my son moved from California.
Yeah,
When the reaction specifically in Fargo, North Dakota, and some of the conversations I heard around just some of the, it's not even like, I can't even call it idiotic. It was
Yeah.
just, it made me question the nature of a lot of people who I thought were good people, because there's no excuse for what happened to George Floyd.
yeah,
Not because, dude, I have not just people in my family, people that are close to me that are on drugs and sometimes out of control.
yeah,
And me being a single person myself, no training can talk them down sometimes out of what they're going through and like really seek counsel for them.
yeah,
So the need for, I went with 4 or 5 officers, one of them to have his neck on another man's neck until he
Knee.
actually
Yeah.
suffocates,
yeah,
knee on another man's neck till he suffocates. And then to hear people out here make excuses like, oh, he was high. So if you're high, that means you die, right?
yeah. That's what
Or
I'm
if you
saying.
if you run, you die.
Yeah.
So then,
does it make
okay,
yeah, it's like,
like,
it.
justify
I just wanna know.
murder?
Yeah, there's
you know.
always an excuse for it.
you
There's
ran,
no
he ran. He should have killed him.
Side life.
It's
Yeah.
still a person. It doesn't matter if he used drugs or not.
Period.
That
How,
doesn't excuse.
how could
him.
you even feel like? How can we, as black men in America, feel secured when we even get pulled over or we even get stopped by the police?
But what I feel so bad for is like the African Americans. Like this is, they say this is your country. Like how are you making a whole group of people feel unsafe in their own country?
Well, I mean, dude, that's been the history ever since. I don't even want to say ever since black people were brought here, because there were black people in the United States of America before the Atlantic slave trade. So we can have a whole nother podcast about that.
Yeah.
But post slavery, right, and during slavery, you know that there were things done to mentally put you in a certain position where you're gonna always feel inferior and less than. and put you not just in your place as a race, but in your economic position too.
Yeah.
As a way to like a means to like use and abuse you for resource, capitalize. So it's been this way for almost 500 years in this country. Has there been steps for it to get better? Yes. You asked a question about black men. I think black men. The attack is there. The attack is imminent on black men in this country. Not just from the police. It's from. It seems like it's from almost every facet.
Yeah.
But one thing that we can do, because we can't, even with myself, I can't control everything else that's happening around me. Right? I can't control this man's mind if he thinks that I'm this way and he wants to treat me like this. I can't control it. But for us having this conversation, we can control what we come together on and what we build, like when we leave here. So I think that's what we have to start doing as black men in our community is, yeah, we have some things to fix specifically in our community, and we have some things that we can build on. So we have to look at our strengths and build upon that. And then anytime when a situation like this with TYRE Nichols happens, we have conversation, we organize, and we look to like empower in the best ways possible, the very, very best ways possible, like for us. You know what I'm saying? But like the hoopla with, like I think it's detrimental as black men to go on a different podcast and be like, oh, well, I think it was because he was sleeping with the other man's wife. Yeah. Like, what is that doing with the actual issue, bro?
That doesn't have anything to do with it.
You have five. How many black officers was it?
It looked like, what, 5, 6 maybe?
Yeah, 5, 6. They were young men. Those are other young black men that killed another young black man.
Yeah.
And then you have the weight of the force on top of it. So as black men, knowing that was our reality in this country is to be attacked, what do we do? How do we organize to protect like yourself, myself, Melvin, our sons, our daughters? Like we have to start formulating our brain around that, and not necessarily when is the next album drop?
Yeah.
Or when is the next Jordan drop? Like that shit is dope. That's
like,
cool, bro.
On more important.
Yeah, that's cool. But do you want another TYRE Nichols to happen and then for it to be forgotten again after a month, or do you want real power in your community? And then what does power look like? Maybe we need to start talking to like financial investors. You know what I'm saying? Instead of talking to, oh, bro, you trying to. I'm not even knocking being a rapper or a hooper. I'm not knocking that at all. But like, instead of doing podcasts or inviting hoopers on, like let's like thinking like the Nipsey Hussle route. Like, how do you really build like power in your community? Like, he knew it was finances. You know what I'm saying? That's why he started financial literacy. Like, you really got to like shape the block a different way. Yeah. So, I don't think join the police. You want to make a difference. And I hate people tell me that too. Like, be a police officer. Like, yeah, start trying to police your own communities and start voting. You know, see what laws you can change. Yeah. But I have had that experience though, like being I got handcuffed at 12, bro, on some bullshit. Like, I watched. I didn't know it was about to be a shooting take place, but I watched the shooting take place. I just watched somebody shoot out somebody's car. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Me and my brother, and then like we were dumb kids. I think I was the same age as my son. I was 12. It was the day after Halloween, so I was chilling, eating Halloween candy and shit. Next thing I know, hella police pulled up, handcuffers and shit. Made me drop my Reese's. I was mad as hell, bro. My last Reese's. They was like, drop it. I was like, fight or flight. Drop that goddamn Reese's. But ever since then, it just put like a certain. I mean, I've forgiven a lot as well, but I don't know. I just never felt so powerless. Like, damn, I actually didn't do anything. You know what I'm saying?
What can you do though?
What can you do in that situation?
It's like when your parents like.
What can you do?
Exactly.
What can you do?
You know, like
Strips
when
your power away.
They try to. They try to. But you have to know for yourself as a human being, like, these human beings may have a gun and a badge, but like, what's my purpose in life? My purpose is my power. So they could try to strip my purpose away, but I'm not gonna forget it. I'm not gonna forget what I'm here for. I think that's what we have to do as well as young black men, is know your worth and know your purpose. It's easy to say, to make you feel valueless, or to have no value if you don't know what you're here for. And a lot of us walk around not knowing what we're here for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If they would have handcuffed me that day, made me feel like, straight crap, and I had nobody who had spoken into my life. That's why it's important for you to speak into your. Remember I was telling you about your little brother. When I said you have to speak things into his life right now. because if he doesn't know how important he is and his value in life, if he were to have that situation like me, get handcuffed, make him drop his candy, I know you did this, I know you shot, I know you did this. Some of the shit they called me my brother was crazy. I would be like, dang, like, am I really like a criminal? But my mother, people, great mentors have spoken things in my life, and I believe that positivity over any person with a gun or a badge could have, cuffed me and told me, like, nah, this ain't me. It's not my reality. So we got to do that.
I think we talked about it before, about, like, how, like, say in the 80s, how, like, crack was, like, booming.
Yeah.
And, like, then we talk about how, like, police were supplying, like, black communities with drugs to distribute it and then lock up more black people and then have more people in prison. It's like...
It's a cycle in the game.
Yeah, and if you even think about it, jail is literally... It's made for black people.
Yeah. But
free labor.
Yeah. And then, like, some people own private prisons, things like that. And
business.
Why would they do that if you're not going to make money from it, right?
Yeah. Business.
Yeah, so.
Business.
And then we're a minority in America. We're like a smaller percentage of the population. And we fill the jails way more than any other race. One
thing he talked about, so if we hit on this and just look at this factor with you said the 80s crack epidemic. Cocaine is the same, it's pretty much the same chemical compound as crack. But they had these laws, mandatory minimum laws in the 80s. I think Obama decreased it to, I don't know if it's less. But in the 80s, I think it was tried, and I don't want to say this wrong. I should actually pull it up after. Somebody want to look up mandatory minimum laws. But it was like you were charged like 10 to 1. So like 10 years for having crack, like 1 year for having cocaine. Crack cocaine is a way cheaper substance to find, mostly found in predominantly poor neighborhoods. Cocaine, same chemical compound, a little more expensive to get, rampant in wealthier communities. Do you think we was in wealthier communities?
Nope.
No. Do you think there were police in wealthier communities?
Nope.
They were not. So it's like the same crime takes place in communities that don't necessarily represent black, but for whatever reason it is, black people are policed at higher rates than other communities with the same drugs. And the 80s crack epidemic was #1 prime example. People should look into what the FBI disclosed after and what they apologized for after, too.
Yeah.
But I think you said it before, like, about how, like, it's like, that saying, like, you're either going to go to jail or you're going to die.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what cops love saying and stuff. Like, I know you have a choice, but it's like so hard if, like, your whole life is, like, in, like, a hood.
Yeah.
Like, it's literally how they say it. And then that's why people have no choice but to think what they see other people doing, like rapping or going to the league.
How do you feel, not just as a citizen, but as specifically a black male after watching what took place, what happened, the murder of TYRE Nichols?
It makes me feel unsafe because I'm black. And the same thing can happen to me and anyone around me.
It makes me feel just like same thing, unsafe, unsecure. Like, how can I call this my country, my home, my place, like a place that me and my friends should feel safe in, like, and not be able to look a cop in the eye without seeing hate or like feeling fear.
And that's who's supposed to be protecting
Yeah,
us.
that's supposed to be our protector, that second wall of defense when something goes down, right?
Yeah.
That's who you first call.
Yeah.
Why would you call somebody that you're unsafe with?
Yeah, but for me, I feel kind of normal. I don't know, like unsafe, yeah, obviously. But I'm saying, we're like used to it now. You know what I mean? Like we already grow up not trusting the police, so it's not like something new to me. But obviously, I feel unsafe and stuff. But I'm just saying, like, we're getting used to it now. Like, we've seen it so much.
Yeah, I seen it like with like older people, but now like throughout like these last like 6-7 years, like I've been seeing it with like even little kids, bro.
Yeah, but like you got to think about it too. It's like it's being put in the media now. but
Yeah.
it happens all the time, so it's not really like something new.
I kind of felt like it was really, it was weird, man, because it was a very strange intersection of like, I already spoke about how I feel occasionally when I see a police officer. Sometimes it's a feeling of like, I feel like they don't trust me, just things that have happened that we've seen, and then my own personal experiences as well. But then this one, it was like, dang. Growing up, I had a mistrust of police because I've seen police brutality firsthand, and then I've seen like people like me be brutal towards each other firsthand too.
Yeah.
So it was like a double entendre of mistrust. Like I didn't trust males that look like you, and then I didn't trust males that look like myself, and I didn't trust the police either. So then seeing that video, it was like, damn, like there's, as far as like my traumatic past history, it was like there's two like people groups right there that I don't trust playing itself out, and that's just like, that was like my worst nightmare. You know what I'm saying? Like the system and ourselves like attacking us, and it's just like, damn, like how do we win in this? How do you win in that situation? Like you would think, I'll just put myself in this position. Like I would think that I can appeal to a black officer. You know, like sometimes, you know how like when times are tough, like with George Floyd, like I could appeal to you and you would understand, right? Maybe some other people groups wouldn't be able to understand, but I could appeal and confide in you. In that situation, it was like, damn, he couldn't even appeal and confide to somebody who, you know, looked like him in this country, and then he couldn't appeal and confide to, you know, law enforcement system either. It was just like, it kind of made me feel like hopeless, bro. Real life hopeless.
That's like the saddest part about it too, is because
before
it's like your own people too. Like
before it was an excuse, like white people, and then now we see it's
black
like,
on black, like what
crime.
the fuck?
yeah, it's like
What is this?
you should already know what, you know, like how it feels to be looked at as, you know, a criminal by the police and stuff.
Yeah.
And then now you're gonna join the police force and, you know,
Do that
do
shit,
that to your
like,
own people. So it's
I
like,
got a theory though, and I'm not like I said, I'm not a man of excuses. This is what I think. Melvin, you spoke about what that unit was in charge of doing. They were in charge of overseeing some of the most violent crime elements of Memphis, Tennessee. I think whether you black, white, Hispanic, whatever culture, over time, if you don't have like mental health assessments, trainings, and enough people, a village really pouring back into yourself after being exposed to some of the most violent situations that they were exposed to, you become an element of the violent crime that you were trying to stop. So I think that they saw murders, like they probably saw like young men after they were slayed, right? And it puts for me, it put hatred in my heart when I found out that my friends had been killed by somebody else that was black. And I'm a black man that's not a police officer, but it made me, you gotta think gang mentality. It'll make you want to go kill somebody else when you find out your friend got killed by somebody that looked like you. So then I'm like looking at it from their perspective, like, dang, I wonder if they ever seen like little black boys that got killed by other black men and had that hatred put in their heart, to where they start looking at black men like, oh no, they're just animals, right? So not to offer no grace, but because I'm not offering no, it's a different perspective.
Yeah.
I'm not offering any grace for what they did, but I think for us as black men, if it's like a call to action, because that involved 6 young black men and everybody lost, right?
Yeah.
The officers, TYRE Nichols, his family, everybody lost. So if it's something that we can do, it's like, how do we love ourselves more? How do we walk away from these situations and have love for you? If you're in my community, how can I look at you with love in my eyes instead of hatred?
It's the culture that like music.
Yeah.
What do we talk about in music?
Straight up murdering each other in music.
Yeah, everything in the media that's like glorified, it's all the negatives.
Yeah.
So like our music, trends, everything.
So
Like,
stop.
I think we were talking about this, like people would be like, oh, my state is more dangerous than your state. Like, why is that like
Yeah.
Yeah.
why is that
like,
accomplishment?
Yeah. I don't even take part in those conversations, bro. Honestly, I be hearing that all the time, like, oh, you know, I'm from this, or I'm from Iraq, or I'm from California. I'm from. We get down like this. So, one thing for myself, when we moved from California, I stopped trying to like brag about. Correct me if I'm wrong. Only time I bring up California, I'm like, man, y'all don't know, it could be really gritty. It could get nasty. Like, we kind of lucky. But have you ever heard me say, like, I'm from California, y'all want to mess with me? Never.
Yes.
You're lying, bro. You're actually lying. Actually lying. You're actually lying, but
Yeah.
try hard. You're actually lying, bro.
You're lying, bro. You're lying.
Straight up lying. I make sure not to like glorify like no violent part of our culture.
Yeah, I understand when you say it though. It's just like when we take things for granted that like, you can't.
Yeah.
In another place.
Like you don't want Fargo, North Dakota to become these other places.
Yeah,
That's in the sense I say it, but I think we got to stop glorifying like you said, glorifying violence, death. Like that shit's not cool. Like nothing is cool about killing somebody that look like you.
Yeah.
Period.
And that's the fucked up reality that we live in. To be seen as a real man or a real nigga in the streets, bro. Like, you gotta be from somewhere. You gotta be doing this to people. Like, that shit's sad. Like, that's not what... And I feel like it derives from, like, what we see, the figures. Like you said, music. If all you hear is kill, drugs, money, that's the only thing you hear, right? And then that's the people that you're around.
Yeah, but
I got a question
just
though.
Gonna say that it's not only the music too, is because right
It's
now, like right now we're
culture.
living in a place where we're not exposed to stuff like that.
Yeah.
But like we're all from different places. Like we're from upstate New York. You're from Philly. You're from Cali. So in those places it's a little bit different. So like with the kids that grow up and they see all the negative stuff around them, that can spark it too.
So what about? So then I got a two-part question. For us as black males, is you said it's ingrained in the culture, right? Has there ever been anything else ingrained in the culture that didn't have anything that wasn't accustomed to violent crime? And then part B, if that is not if violent crime isn't the culture right now in Fargo, North Dakota, why do youth in Fargo, North Dakota still gravitate towards the culture of violent crime? And why is it? And it's associated with black males, it seems like. But to please answer the first question. Do you think there's ever been a time where black people in the world were associated with anything else besides guns, murder, sex?
Look, so it's literally like a.
You said slavery? That's the problem.
There's like two parts of it to me. Like music can be a negative and it can be a positive to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like music is like so crazy to me. Like it's not even like, I don't know how to explain it, bro. It's not even like.
And if you actually think about it too, like most of the rappers, they're talking about like their life stories. So it's like what they're seeing too.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of people lying too, but I'm just saying like.
Yeah.
Now, my point was like, we can still spread positivity through music. Like not everybody raps about or sings about murder, but like it's been so ingrained for mad long.
That's what get the record deals, it seems like.
Yeah.
That's really popping off. It's like murder, drugs again,
but
and
like
then jewelry.
And
you
like
hear like stuff like that in like soul music.
No, so that's what I'm saying. Like they're exactly. You didn't hear elements of like, I'm gonna go kill my brother and like soul, or like even in neo soul, R&B. Like it's like there's so many other parts of black culture that has nothing to do with killing each other that we don't glorify. And I don't know why. I don't know if it's because it's not attractive or what. You know what I'm saying? But I think we have to start really looking at ourselves and making a turn towards that if we want to exist.
And like what's your my bad. But with like the question you asked earlier too about like if anything else was glorified besides like violence and stuff, I feel like like maybe like after slavery and stuff like that, black people were trying hard to have a good image, so we're trying to actually not talk about violence and things like that. But then it's like we're all grouped together in bad neighborhoods, like we're like public enemy, you know what I mean? Like we feel like we're being treated like less than, things like that. And then now they're putting the drugs into our communities.
Yeah.
So it's like it's not fully, our fault, because that's kind of what was supposed to happen, if you know what I mean. Like it was
It's like a little.
it was planned
light
that way.
and
Yeah.
dark.
Yeah,
it's-
it was planned that way.
I think you're right. I think it's a setup, and I think every attempt post slavery, by African Americans to like change their narrative and their legacy. Like I can't say that they did. People don't know the history. People tried, and
Yeah.
they came up with black codes.
Yeah.
Then they came up with Jim Crow laws.
Yeah.
Like we're just politically, right, and systemically find different ways to put your people group in a less than situation, and black people have still prevailed, right? So I want to focus on the triumphs. Like there's still black business owners. There might not be as much, but we have to start buying back into ourselves.
Yeah.
But I think almost every attempt. And I know we all are familiar with Tulsa, Oklahoma. That's something that everybody can easly pull up and research. Black Wall Street. I mean, that's something that was physically bombed.
Yeah.
Right, by U.S. government.
Yeah.
Military might physically bombed black neighborhoods for no reason, bro, but that they were successful. So I think that attempts like that by us to change the narrative, it meets a certain violent like wall. But I think violent culture, it doesn't just affect us. I think we're just the only group where it's like media shown in the media so much, because American culture is violent culture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like all of our movies. When do you ever
Action movie.
every action movie involves somebody getting their head blown off.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We don't glorify like movies of like peace and healing as
Everything,
much.
and all that stuff is normal.
It's all normalized.
Like
Yeah.
you see that, you don't like bat an eye to it.
No, which is not normal to see somebody's body like ripped apart
Yeah.
and so much blood and gore. Like it's not a normal life. You know what I'm saying? So I think that it's normal, like black people, black bodies, and having them done whatever to it is normalized.
Yeah.
And then you add that in with violent culture and of American violent culture, it's just like it's a negative soup for us.
Yeah. And to answer your second question, it was like, why do you see? What could you restate it?
In Fargo?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why do you see specifically in Fargo, North Dakota? Because it's not it's not Chicago,
Yeah.
right? It's not.
Yeah, I got a proof.
It's not Richmond, California. It's not like, you know what I'm saying? It's not other places in the States. But why do areas like this that don't have a violent culture quite yet, why do they gravitate towards it? Like, why do you see kids being like, that's my op,
Yeah.
like blah blah blah?
To me, it's to fit in, cause like if they say they talk how people are around them, everyone around them. Oh, you're white for talking this way, or if you do this. It's like your demeanor. If you're like soft, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, you're white. Like anything that isn't violent is white, and then stuff that is violent is black. So they'll tie into like making fake gangs, doing all these unnecessary stuff just to fit in to being black.
Yeah, and it's like, like with the younger generation, we kind of like live on social media, so
Yeah, and it's glorified.
yeah, it's like I'm gonna do this because this is what I'm watching,
Yeah,
and then they actually start believing
that they're
that they're
life.
living this life that they're actually not. So
That's why
That's
I
just what
always
it is.
dislike, like, you're literally like in the perfect predicament. Why are you trying to act like
Yeah, I hate
in-
that shit so much.
yeah, like don't I always say like, why they trying to act hard? You like
yeah, you don't
well,
have
you
to
don't
act
see
hard.
nothing. You don't even have to act hard.
Yeah.
This is the best place to not have to act hard.
Yeah.
Like your whole, once you live somewhere that's like more safe, like your whole demeanor changes. Like before, I used to always be mad. I used to like be weird. Like if I looked
Yeah.
at myself from then to now, I'd be like, bro, why was I like that?
Yeah, I was just thinking about this
Yeah.
the other day too, because I was like, dang, like, I feel like I think way more different now. Like before, anything would get me mad.
Yeah.
I'm ready to fight everybody over the dumbest things. But now when I think about it, like the other night I was thinking like, dang, I used to fight people for the dumbest reasons. Why did I used to do that? but it's like the environment you're in. But now I don't have to do that.
Yeah,
So why do they do that then? Like, then they know they don't have to do it out here. Like, people know that. So I always just be really confused. Like,
it's like being in the
you know?
middle. Like,
Because
if you act a certain way, then you're white, and then like the black people be like they'll like disown you because you're white, and then those white people, you're not white to them.
that sounds like, to me, I know that's coming from a lot of different pressures as well. That's something I want to address with like us in the black community and us as black men. Like, we have to, that thing that you just said, like, if you're not violent, you're white.
yeah.
Okay, if somebody calls you that, like, I would like to see in the next generation us not have a problem with them calling us white. We know it's not true.
Yeah.
Okay, bro, but because I don't feel like going back and forth with you and having a problem with you today, I'm white. All right, I'll be white today then, I guess, because I'm not about to waste my time with you.
That's so ignorant too.
You know what I'm saying?
Why even put energy into it?
That's what I'm saying. So that's what I think we gotta start doing away with that, like dead in that shit. Like, okay, bro, cool, and maybe look to educate people in that moment. And if they don't want to listen, you know what I'm saying, you can't force a horse to drink. But, you know what I'm saying, if you a horse, you can drink all day.
Carry the water, but can't force it.
Exactly. Carry the water, can't force it to drink. So, guys, just dead the conversation. Let it go.
Yeah.
But
That's all for this episode.
I think so.
Thank you for tuning in to Beyond the Dimensions podcast, another successful podcast. We're
Thank you
so
very much.
happy that you guys decided to join us again. Hopefully, y'all could become somewhat of a regular. Still want to keep this, us.
You're not the thinker, man.
Like,
You're not
share,
the president.
like, share, subscribe.
Every Wednesday, 12 a.m.
Remember
Never
to
do. Comment.
Yeah.
Maybe
any new ideas.
new ideas.
Any new ideas, anything you guys want us to cover,
Good hosts too, or not good hosts, but good guests. Maybe even add in some additions about who would be, a good guest to come on and speak about. If we've touched on some subjects, and there's somebody in the community
That's
that
more
would be
educated.
that's more educated with more experience, that would be a good addition. Leave it in the comments as well. Professors, teachers, whoever.
Even yourself.
Yeah.
I actually use the comment section. A lot of you guys would come up to me in person and tell me like things like. There's a comment section. So.
Oh yeah, I got something to say too. Don't be in the comments talking about my ear, man. All right, thanks.
Fargo Cast, Public Health. If you or anybody that's struggling, or if you need any resources, No Feeling is Final is a campaign that's going on, like I said, through Fargo Cast, Public Health. Please utilize this resource. If you are having any troubles, you can always text home. If you are struggling with some suicidal ideation or just, feeling a little depressed in those regards, text home to 741-741, and there is help locally in Fargo, North Dakota. Mental health, especially by way of suicidal ideation, is something that I know myself. I personally had those thoughts that came in my mind when you're just feeling defeated. So it's absolutely 100% normal, no matter what shape, size, skin color. It's a struggle that we all, most of us deal with. So don't feel ashamed about it. There's assistance. There's also people up here too, people through YouthWorks, and so many different other agencies in Fargo, North Dakota that you can reach out to for help. So just want to always put something out there.